time or another, we have all listened to and spread gossip that we've heard about others. Sometimes gossip can be good and favorable, and sometimes it can be nefarious and salacious. When it comes to the entertainment business, the public can't seem to get enough. They want to know what's really going on behind the scenes. And my guest today, his name is Roger Friedman, has spent a career watching and reporting about the comings and goings of celebrities, including the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I want to say welcome to the show and thank you for taking time out of your schedule so we could conversate.
Thank you.
Anyway, why don't you explain to the audience exactly what you do as a journalist?
What I do as a journalist, I run a website called ShowBiz411.com. It's been going since about 2012, and we cover, lots of information about entertainment, movies, music, books, Broadway. It's actual breaking news and scoops, I think we would call it. And we feed a lot of other sites that pick up our stories.
Well, speaking of scoops, what does it feel like when you actually get a scoop and you've beaten all of the big guys on the block?
It feels good when you get a scoop. And you're sort of rushing all the time to get something before anyone else can.
How did you even think of going into that business?
Okay, what happened was I was at New York Magazine in the 90s writing feature stories, and they had a column called The Intelligencer. Two people used to write it. One of them was a woman named Pat Wexler, and the other guy, one day he vanished. I came into the office and the editor-in-chief said to me, this guy left at lunchtime and never came back, and you have to take his job. And I said, oh, I don't want to do that. That's way too much work. And he said, well, if you want to keep getting a paycheck, that's what you have to do. So that's what I did. And not long after I took that job, co-writing The Intelligencer, O.J. Simpson was arrested for a double murder. And that became sort of the focus of my time at The Intelligencer. And I was going to L.A. and covering the trial and got a lot of scoops. And then I went into the internet when Fox News called and they wondered if I would write a daily column for them. So I went from writing a weekly column at The Intelligencer to a daily column at Fox News. So I went from monthly to weekly to daily. And then after about 8 or 9 years, after we established foxnews.com, then it became hourly, which I never would have expected. But the internet sort of broke free around 2008. And that's when everyone started posting 24 hours a day with no deadlines and no set schedules.
Well, just going back to what you said, what did it feel like the first time you saw your name in the byline?
Well, the first time I saw my name in a byline was like 1979. I was a kid, and there was a trade magazine, and I wrote a piece about Kurt Vonnegut, and it was very popular. I interviewed Kurt Vonnegut. It was very popular. So it was very exciting. And then in the 80s, in the mid 80s, I worked on a magazine called Fame magazine, which was sort of like Vanity Fair. Unfortunately, the owner of it was arrested for insider trading about 3 years into it. But for 3 years, we published this magazine, which was very popular and successful. And I did several cover stories and saw my name on the cover on newsstands when newsstands were still a big thing. And that was very exciting.
I'm sure you have your sources who call you up and say, I heard this could be this. And by the way, my girlfriend's playing here, so could you just drop her name in the column?
Well, that we have all the time. And I learned, back when I was doing Fame magazine, and for a short time I did Page Six. And also I wrote for Liz Smith. I learned so much from Liz about who to write about, how to write about them, how to create characters that were interesting to the public. You can't just write about anything. You have to pick things that the public wants to hear about. And that I really learned from Liz. Her kind of column, which was like Winchell's or Earl Wilson or that kind of thing, those were columns where you could write 2 sentences, ... and then move on to another thing.
Yeah.
The internet does not work that way. The internet is coded. So you have to code, your stories have to be individual. And so that's a much different thing. So I'm glad I learned the early way of doing it with the ellipsis, and then switched over to full stories.
Well, how is Show Business 411 different than the other entertainment blogs?
You know, first of all, we have a lot of traffic. We have a lot of readers. So I was lucky to bring over my Fox News following in 2009 when I started this, and then in 2012 when I really launched it. And I think the difference is that we do break a lot of stories. We have exclusives. We're first on a lot of things, and I don't write about any reality stars or tabloid people. It's of absolutely no interest to me.
I want to ask you a question. What was the most outrageous rumor you heard, and did it lead to a story?
Well, the most outrageous rumor, one of the funnier rumors, people used to say to me, the only reason that Tom Cruise is married to Nicole Kidman is because he's having an affair with her brother. And I would say, she doesn't have a brother. I don't know where you're getting this. And these are the kinds of stories that you hear all the time, where people come up to you and insist that it's true. They have the information, and of course, it's all a myth, and none of it is true. But these things became great stories that everyone loved to tell at dinner as if they knew something.
Well, that's part of the culture of show business.
Yeah. I worked on the Michael Jackson trial in 2005 after reporting on him for about 10 years. And that was a big deal at Fox News. We had a great time with that. I had better sources than just about everyone who could prove that Michael was actually innocent of the charges that had been brought against him. And I think that the defense attorneys used my evidence from my columns to help get him off. So I was very happy about that. And I'm happy about movies I've championed, plays I've championed, singers I've championed. It's not all negative stuff. A lot of it is helping people come to a wider audience. Sometimes an actor will win an award and thank me, and I feel good about that because I like promoting things that are people who are talented.
Getting on to another subject, I also understand that you produce documentaries and you work with Penny Baker on
Yeah,
one called
Only the Strong Survive. When I was moving from New York Magazine to Fox News, and I had been very involved with classic R&B stars. I love music. I love pop music. And I was going every year to the Rhythm and Blues Foundation Pioneer Awards, which they didn't film. And all these great stars were coming and performing with their bands. And finally, I said, someone's got to record this. So I went to Pennebaker, who's the most famous music documentarian. And I said, would you have any interest in this if I can get these people to agree to it? And he said, yes, absolutely. And Harvey Weinstein, who everyone hates now, but had been a music producer in Buffalo before he was a movie mogul, loved this music also. And he said to me, well, if you can get Wilson Pickett to be in your movie, I'll do it. So the Pennebakers did the movie, and I was sort of the quarterback for it. And I was very smart to do it because a lot of the people who were in the movie passed away subsequently. So we have a great record of Isaac Hayes, a lot Rufus Thomas from Stax Records, Sam and Dave, and I have Sam Moore. Dave died in 1988, and this movie was made at 11 years later. But Sam Moore, who's now himself 88 and still sings beautifully, was really the star of the movie. And he really gave us a focus and a look into what it was like to be a singer who didn't write songs, had hits, but wasn't paid properly by the record companies or the publishers.
What's in the future for Roger Friedman?
Well, we just finished Oscar season, which was exhausting. And we finished the Emmy. The Emmy Awards were late this year because of the strikes. So now we're getting ready to start another Emmy season for September. So that's a little different than usual. Also, Broadway is tuning up. There's about 15 opening nights coming. And then at the end of April, the Tony voters will vote for their nominations. And in June, we'll have the Tony Awards. So, and it's a pretty good season. So we've got a lot of stuff coming. And there's a lot of great events in New York that I'll be covering. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I wish you luck.
Yeah,
Anyway, I want to say thank you for coming on the show.
you're welcome.
And You're welcome to come back at any time and
Sure.
just schmooze.
I'd love to. Thank you very much.